I will be very satisfied if I helped 100 families become millionaires and help their generations to come. We need to break a cycle, especially in our community, with people not leaving stuff for their descendants. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids, and so that was a thing. I recently, a few years, started working on my grandkids. I already have my kids set, and I need to work on my future grandkids. So.
Welcome back to the lab, everybody. It is me, David Moss.
And your girl, Dr. E.
And we have a wonderful guest today. I'm going to let Dr. E go ahead and introduce our guest.
Yes, we have the amazing Rashad Mosley. Hands down, he is one of my favorite people in the world. He is definitely used to be a track and field student athlete, now an amazing entrepreneur. He went from owning his own business to now owning a couple more businesses. And then also he does a stock market. He used to own an ice cream shop. He has his own photography business. So we definitely want to hear his story on how he transformed himself into the man he is today. So Rashad, please, round of applause.
Hey, appreciate you.
Hey, no problem at all. Please step in and let us know, how did you transform into the guy that you are today?
Yeah, well, like you said, my name's Rashad. I'm first off a man of God. I am a husband. I am a father of 6. And then I'm also a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur, and a former college athlete, which is partly why I'm here today. But all of those things collectively kind of form me into the man I am today.
I love it. So how did you know? Okay, well, starting from track and field, because you did track and field, right?
Right, yep.
So you did track and field in high school. Is that correct as well?
Yeah, so I did track and field and football in high school. And then when I got to college, I just did track and field because ain't nobody going to be doing all that running,
That part right there. People just don't know.
Not at all.
Trying to get bad on the running. So once you got done doing track and field, you did football, I'm sure. And then once you did that, so what was your major once you got to college?
Well, I started off as undecided. And then by the end of my freshman year, I decided on physical therapy.
Oh, okay. Nice. So did you end up taking that route once you graduated?
So I graduated with my bachelor's in physical therapy. But to be a physical therapist, you need your doctorate. And by the time I got to about year 4, I was like, ain't nobody doing another 4 years of this. So once I graduated, I was in the health field for quite a few years, but I was not a physical therapist because I couldn't practice physical therapy because I didn't have a doctorate in physical therapy. So
right.
Yeah. So I after so many years, I ventured off into my own thing, started multiple businesses, and now I'm fully self-employed and running those different businesses.
That's amazing. So when did you realize you was ready to jump from a W-2 worker to a 1099 worker?
Right. So my first business was my photography business called Vision and Style Photography. And so the whole time I was building that business, I was also still working my 9-to-5, doing it full time. And then it wasn't until my second business, which was called Ice Cream Rollery, I didn't quit until 5 months prior to the store opening. And so I really stretched it out as long as I possibly could. I always tell people your 9-to-5 should be your first business partner. They should be investing same amount that you are, if not more. So you need to utilize them for as long as you possibly can.
Right. Okay, cool. That's amazing, and that is a good tip for people. So once you jumped, did you have any mentorship that helped you along your journey? Like, how did you know? You know what I mean? Was someone in your ear like, "Hey, I see you doing this. I think it may be time for you to go ahead and jump." Like who did you surround yourself around in order to make those important decisions?
Yeah, so with my journey, it was a lot of trial and error, honestly. A lot of failing. You always have to fail first in order to succeed.
Right.
So I did a lot of that. Now, if you have a mentor or you know of somebody, you should definitely be reaching out to them, because that is the quickest, most efficient way to go about anything. If you
Yeah,
want to get stronger, then the fastest way to do that is to be working out with somebody who is stronger than you. You want to be
Right.
faster,
right.
the fastest way to get faster is to be running with somebody who is faster than you, because
Oh
that's
my
going to
God.
push you that much
Yes.
more. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't have that. It's okay. It just means I had to fail more times in order to succeed. And I'm totally
Right.
fine with that. It worked out. It just took me longer than what it would have had I had that special mentor.
Oh no, that makes sense. That I know in the weight room when I did track and field, one of my former teammates, her name was Nia Henderson.
Uh-huh.
And when I tell you this girl would not allow me to put like 2.5s or 5s on. Like, I know we don't do no cookies over here. We don't do pies, baby.
Hey, look.
Like, so she would not, you know what I mean, spot me unless I had some real weight on. I'm like, girl, this is real weight. I'm not no shot putter.
Right.
But I can definitely tell you, I definitely got strong on the bench just
Yeah,
because of her. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
I fully understand exactly what you talk about when it comes to that mentorship. Having that mentorship around you, having people who are willing to push you, but also they're willing to push you because they see your potential, and that's the most beautiful part.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Well, everybody needs a mentor, somebody to look inside them to see what's inside of them and be like, hey, let me pull that out of you and mold you. But then you got to be willing to be molded, because, you don't want to be that person, but nah, okay, I got it. You want to be more receptive to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
right. Because
that part.
in this day and age, everybody's so in their own world. Let me say it like that. Just,
Right.
everybody got a lot going on. So that mentorship is valuable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd actually met a good friend of mine's probably about 3 to 4 years after Ice Cream Rollery opened, and he owned several Popeyes, 7 of them to be exact. He owned other restaurants and very successful at what he does. But I met him. I met him pretty far along in my journey. I'm like, well, dang, dude, you could have came around a long time ago. It would have made it a lot
That
simpler.
part. Oh
So,
my gosh, yes. Oh man.
So what made you want to get into the ice cream rollery business?
yeah. So a trip to Puerto Rico in 2017. My wife and I went. We were on a tour bus, and on top, while we were on the tour bus, I saw a sign in front of a store that said "Road Ice Cream." And at this time, I had never heard of it. Anybody who knows me knows I have a crazy sweet tooth, so anything sweets, I'm going for it.
I
But
love it. I'm that person in this
hey,
relationship.
that's how it is. And so
Right?
I seen this sign in front of the store that said "Road Ice Cream." I'm like, well, what in the heck is Road Ice Cream? And so I ventured in there, I placed my order, and once I saw the process of how it was made, I was like, oh, I got to bring this back. I got to bring this
Yeah.
back. So while I was literally in the store, the first thing I did was take out my phone and Google Road Ice Cream in Columbus, Ohio, which is where I'm at. And
Right.
because I wanted to see if I had never heard of it, I'm like, is this business at home? And so when I Googled it, there was no physical, at the time, there was no physical business with Road Ice Cream. Mind you, this is back in 2017. So literally the first thing I started doing was I got started on it while we were still there on vacation. I actually had the logo for the business made before we even got back home.
Yo,
So,
I love
make it
it.
into being. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, okay, so but when did you know you had that entrepreneurship spirit? Because a lot of times, whenever I'm talking about entrepreneurship, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, well, some people look at me like, nah, I'd rather work a 9 to 5. I'm just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Cute, but that's not me. I it's hard for me to do that. So, but when did you realize that? Hey, like, did you always have that hustle mindset about you?
Yeah, I've always hustled. You know, even back in high school, middle school days, where they have you go out and sell like cookies and all that stuff. I'd always out hustled everybody, and so I mean, it just is what it is. But
Right.
we did that, and then when I got into college, in order to make extra income, what I did was I went and bought used phones on Craigslist and for a cheap price, and then marked them up and sold them on eBay for like $100 markup per phone. And I was bringing in good income as a broke college student. Yeah, broke.
Right.
IRS don't come for me, but
There you go.
yeah. So that was probably when I knew I was good. I was good at the hustler mentality.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, so you said you started the rotary business in 2017.
Uh,
So did you run into the pandemic? Was you open during the pandemic? Was you affected by that at all?
Oh, for sure, for sure. So the first location opened in 2018, but then the second location was set to open in March of 2020.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So that was supposed to be the grand opening date.
Yeah.
Obviously that did not happen on that day.
Right.
Right.
uh, we ended up opening, I think, like late March, but yeah, that was definitely a setback because I mean during that time, my 100% of my income was between the ice cream rollery, the first store, and photography. And then I was set to open up the second location, which I had already dropped tens of thousands of dollars into. And
Yeah.
so when the pandemic happened, it took all my income to zero. It put that huge investment that I put in for the second location on hold. And I didn't know, like none of us knew how long this COVID thing was going to happen. Like, were we going to be forced to stay inside for a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years? Nobody knew the answer to that. So when that happened, was when I started Googling like, how can I make money without having to rely on others, can do it from anywhere. And that is when I stumbled upon trading options. So
Oh, okay.
COVID was really a blessing in disguise because now trading options is my primary source of income. It's higher, the ice cream rollery was $1 million brand within and of itself.
Right.
But my primary source of income is now trading options, which I bring in multiple six figures a year doing so. And I don't have to pay a million other employees and rent and all this other great things. So
Right. Yeah, that's the good part right there.
yeah.
Make some
Right.
things.
You know how stressed out or mentally strong you have to be for that to happen to you, and like, and to know that you have like a wife, you have 6 kids, and you have to wake up and be like, how am I going to feed them? Let alone feed myself. Like, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But how am I going to feed them, and to also let them know throughout this process while I'm struggling, oh no, everything's great. Don't worry. Eat that. I don't know where I'm going to get the next, couple dollars from to replace that meal you just ate. But like,
Yeah.
man, it takes some. Ah, man, I'm sorry, but
No,
it's
that's
hard.
real.
It
Yeah,
is so
it is.
real.
Real life decisions right there. Real life decisions. And
Yeah.
it gets crazy sometimes. I think COVID hit everybody in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like it affected everybody in a way, either good or bad, because to us it was a little bit of both. We found the stock market too, and it really helped out, doing options the same way. So
Yeah.
that actually was a blessing because like you said, it shows you how to make money without being tied to anything. That's just sitting there focused and doing what you gotta do to get that extra dollar. So
Right. Now, I
Yeah.
wish we would have found a market a little bit earlier than COVID.
For sure.
Then we'll be able to read the chart a little bit better. Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, they're going down. Put Central, there wouldn't been no option. They go back up. They're not going back up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, cool. So once you decided, so how long did it take you to figure out that you wanted to jump to the stock market, and like how did you know that you didn't just want to trade shares, that you actually wanted to trade options as well? Like how did you learn about that piece? And how
Yes.
long did it take you to learn about it?
So anytime that you're able to use leverage with anything in your life, you should definitely use it if it's safe to do so. And that's why using options spoke to me so much more than just using shares, because of the ability to use leverage.
All right.
With options, for me, I'm mainly an option seller, which allows me ways to make money no matter which way the stock direction goes, and puts my probability of profit so high that it just made sense. And so instead of just buying shares and hoping that it goes up, or selling short shares and hoping it goes down, I can make money no matter which direction the stock goes in. So that really spoke to me. And over the course of about a little over a year, I kind of created my own specific process that I use every week in, week out, for weekly income. I call it trading like a robot. I take all emotions out. I don't care nothing about that. I'm a robot on that computer. So it's, for me, it's if this then that. So yeah, it's been a beautiful thing.
That's good. That's good. So since you're so good at selling options, are you helping others, sell options as well, or are you keeping these secrets to yourself?
I keep it to myself. Nah. No, actually, earlier this year launched a online course and a community called Trade to Freedom. So where I'm teaching people my process of how I do options, and then also in the community, I publish my actual trades in real time. So people want to follow me and do the exact same trades that I'm doing and make money, then you can utilize that. So the community launched in August, and we've done over 100 trades since then, and there's only been 2 of them that were not profitable. So that just kind of shows you, we're over a 98% probability of profit so far, which is a crazy number. So that's really good.
Yes.
I'm normally around 94% for the year, but we've been at 98% since it started. So if anybody's interested in that, moneytalkrashad.com, and come join us in the community.
Yes, that's amazing. And you also have your own YouTube channel as well, correct? Where you talk about money.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and that journey?
Yep. So, it's crazy because my photography business was my baby. That was my first official business. And so I was so very accustomed to being behind the camera, but jumping in front of it was like I had to defeat something within myself first to even be able to do that. So, So what I decided is, before I leave this earth, I want to help create 100 millionaires. And so with that purpose, YouTube seemed like the quickest and most efficient way to reach, a huge ton of people and teach them how I do what I do. And so created a YouTube channel last year. And yeah, been putting videos out. Haven't been doing it as often recently, but I'll be launching some new videos soon. So yeah, everybody check it out. Money Talk Rashad on YouTube.
I love it. That's great. Congratulations. Oh man.
Thank you.
So have you thought about let me ask this question. How have your student athlete abilities or mindset helped you with who you are today, and help you overcome some obstacles that you have challenged up to now?
Discipline. Discipline is the biggest thing. Being an athlete, you have to be very disciplined in several different factors in your life. Obviously, the obvious one is like, okay, I have practice every day at this time. I have lifting at this time. But it also forces you to juggle several different things. Not only do you have to be good at sports, obviously you're a student athlete, and so you have to find ways to be successful at the student part with less time than what a normal student has. So it forced me into that discipline. And anytime you're disciplined at anything, you're going to see success at it. So whether you're disciplined in eating healthy, disciplined at working out, disciplined at working on your business, that discipline over a long period of times is going to keep compounding, and compound growth is a beautiful thing.
Yes, look at you thinking about the stock market.
Had to throw that one out there.
Love it. So if you were to think, what is your superpower?
What is my superpower? I don't know if I've ever been asked that question before. What is
I
my
can tell you what I think yours is, but I want to hear your answer.
I'm interested in seeing what you think it is, because I don't know.
I think you have the power to be resilient.
Okay.
Like, never give up. Like, no matter what comes at you, you're always consistently calculating ways, you know what I mean, to succeed.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I definitely love that about you.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really love failing. Like it sounds weird saying, but I really love failing because I've never failed and not learned something from it, which you should never fail and not learn something from it. And the only time you really fail is when you fail and then you stop. Because if you keep going, you have to learn from it. So if you keep going, you'll get better and better and better. So the more you fail, the better you're going to be. Um, and then just never letting anybody never let anybody make you think that you can't do something. I remember when I first started my photography business. I have several I have several different examples, but when I first started my photography business, um, there was this girl that I worked with at the time, and I told her like, "Hey, my New Year's resolution for this upcoming year is I'm gonna start a photography business." And we were good friends, and for whatever reason, her reaction was, "You're right, huh?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You ain't starting no photography business."
Man.
I said, "Okay."
She know
and
we
then
from Columbus.
and then and then and then 4 months later, she's asking me to photograph her. Like,
That's how it works, right?
and it's crazy because it can often be people that mean no ill intent to you.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So I know I watched a Jay-Z interview, and there's a line in one of his raps. He goes, "They always said I never sell a million records, when I sold a million records like a million times." In that line, he was referring to his favorite uncle, somebody who loves him and usually believes in him. But what happened was his uncle tried to be a rapper and he failed at it and he stopped. Right. And so when Jay-Z was a youngin' and Jay-Z came to his favorite uncle, said, "Hey, I want to be a rapper," his uncle's natural reaction was, "Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard. I don't think you'll be successful at it."
Right.
And now we know who Jay-Z is today. Right. And so,
Exactly.
sometimes when you receive a message, if you're a spiritual person, if you receive a message from God, that message was sent to you and it was for you. So if you share it with somebody else, they may not see it the way that you see it because they didn't get that message. You got that message. So it's stay focused on you, believe in you, and keep going no matter what people say. And that's the same thing that happened with Ice Cream Roller. Actually, when in 2020 during the pandemic, I actually wanted to upgrade the menu. And so I added something to the menu that most other ice cream parlors don't have, and that was lobster rolls.
Yes.
And so originally I asked two people what they think about it. I said, "Hey, I want to add these lobster rolls to Ice Cream Roller," because I was pondering in my head back and forth between opening up a totally new business just for lobster rolls and lobster this, lobster that, or adding it to ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah. Or adding it to Ice Cream Rollery. And so I was like, let me see what a few people think. So I asked the first person, I said, "Hey, I'm going to add lobster rolls to the menu at Ice Cream Rollery. What do you think?" They said, "That's stupid." Okay. And then I asked the second person and they said, "Yeah, bro, I'm be honest. That doesn't sound like a good idea." So those two people told me no. So I said, "All right, I'm gonna do it now."
Right.
So I'm gonna do it. This sounds fun because, like, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is it doesn't work and I take it off the menu. Done. It's not that difficult of a thing. And so Yeah, long story short, we end up launching it. It became a big hit. Somebody from a popular radio station came into the store without me knowing. They came into the store, they ordered it, and they loved it. And they went on the radio station the very next day and talked about it. And from that day for the next 3 months, we had lines out the door from the time we
Wow.
opened to the time we closed, all for lobster rolls. And we sold more lobster rolls at an ice cream parlor than we sold ice cream.
Wow. So that is amazing. That is amazing. Those lobster rolls did look amazing. I can tell you that. I love it. When I seen them, I was like, oh my God, I want to say this. They did look amazing. That's the one thing about that parlor. Like, I missed it, like, going there, but when I seen the pictures and stuff of it, I was like, oh my God, those lobster rolls did stand out. It was a problem, I can tell you that.
No,
So I
get
get why they was in line, you know.
Uh-huh. You did a great job with like the setup and well, of course, you're a photographer.
Right, exactly.
But you probably had the right angle, the right lighting, and everything. But oh man, I was so proud of you and how much business you were able to get from the ice cream, the lobster rolls, and now you just followed your heart. And I love how you said how the message just may not have been for them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
It just wasn't for them, and that's totally fine.
So you never thought about running with just like the lobster roll part of it after COVID or whatever, and just see where that takes you, or you just stock market?
And so I actually closed the stores this past April, this year in April. We were at the end of our 5-year lease, and so I had to make a decision whether to renew for another 5 years or go ahead and shut it down. And I made the hard decision that I wanted to put my focus towards trying to help people build their wealth. So we went ahead and closed that down. But it was an amazing journey. We were open for over 5 years. I had over 200 employees throughout those 5 years.
Wow.
So, it's a huge blessing, a lot of things I learned, and kept failing. Then at the end we succeeded, and it was a beautiful journey.
That is amazing.
That is.
So do you have any future projects that you're thinking about working on?
So right now all the focus is on Money Talk Rashad, and getting more people in the community so they can build their wealth.
Okay, no, that's great. I can't wait to see how that grows, like what it grows into. So are you looking for just 100 people? Because you mentioned you want to make only 100 millionaires, or are you trying to look for more people and hopefully out of those people 100 will become millionaires?
Yeah. More people, and hopefully, I just need to get 100 millionaires out of however many join the community. Right. Hopefully more than the 100. We don't want to stop at 100, but
right.
I will be very satisfied if I helped 100 families become millionaires and help their generations to come. We need to break a cycle, especially in our community, with people not leaving stuff for their descendants. The Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids. And so that was a thing. I recently, a few years, started working on my grandkids. I already have my kids set, and I need to work on my future grandkids. So,
right. That's beautiful.
That is wealth building.
Right, oh no, definitely.
Yeah. I always tell my kids that they're being rich. I don't want to be rich, do you? Because I want to be wealthy. You can be rich all day. You know what I mean? But last, you can flip it. Keep it real. But wealthy, you don't have to worry about anything. It's generational. Wealth is generational. So that's a beautiful thing right there.
Right.
So how was navigating a business like through COVID with your employees and everything? Like how did it go with them? Or how was it? Did you have to lay people off and bring them back? How receptive was it? How was it like managing the business through COVID?
Yeah, so obviously with it being an ice cream business, most of our employees are like high schoolers and possibly college students. So it was tougher with the second location just because we had just recently trained all of them, and we thought we were set for a grand opening, and then it was like, guys, we're not going to open, and I don't know when we are. So hopefully, I hope you stick around, but obviously some of them stuck around, some of them left. So, you know, I end up paying a lot of people just to come and train, and they got their check and they dipped out. But yeah, with the first location, the one that had already been open, we just, you know, they saw what it was, and you know, most of them stuck around. So
Okay, that's good. Did the state of Ohio have something in place to help y'all out, like through that, as far as business ownership? Was it there, or did they kind of like have you on your own for a while? Like, was there any backing there for you being a business owner?
not during the thick of it. They ended up doing, there was a few organizations that did things like later in like 2021 or 2022 even, but during the thick of it in 2020, not really. I know they did allow for bars and restaurants, well, restaurants that serve liquor, they now allow them to be able to sell liquor to go, essentially, like in a cup. You know, I guess they thought that was going to like boost revenue by some crazy amount, but yeah, we didn't sell liquor, so it didn't really affect us at all. So we were on our own. What's up, everybody? It's Rashad here. I am a stock market investor and options trader, and I've used options trading for the last several years to bring in multiple six figures per year. I've used options trading to reach financial freedom, and I absolutely want the exact same thing for you. My goal is that before I die, I want to help create 100 millionaires. And I believe I can do that through my online course and community called Trade to Freedom. This course and community will help you learn how to create passive income even when you're on vacation, retire early without giving up the comforts that you work for, leave a legacy of wealth behind for your children, diversify your income so you don't have to worry about life's ups and downs, and lastly, live the financially free life that you've always dreamed of. Come see exactly how I bring in multiple six figures per year from trading options. I'll see you all in the Trade to Freedom community. See you soon. Peace.
Hey you guys, it's your girl Dr. E. My name is Dr. Fua Ampadu Moss, and this video is only for parents of student athletes who's about to enter that college level or who's already at that college level. I have an amazing community of parents and student athletes and coaches and mentors who is ready to make sure their student athlete graduates and gets across that stage. And I definitely want you to be a part of that amazing group to make sure they have all the action plans they need in regards to academia, networking, careers, like just everything that we needed, everything that we kind of neglected a little bit when we were in college, just to remind them that, hey, you need these amazing tools in order to make sure that you are successful when you cross that stage. So let's definitely bond together, get together, start networking, connecting with each other, and learning on how we can make all our student athletes' dreams possible on and off the field. So yes, again, my name is Dr. E. Click the link below, and I'll be more than happy to meet you in the Transformation Lab community.
You know, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids. And so that was a thing. I recently, a few years, started working on my grandkids. I already have my kids set, and I need to work on my future grandkids. So
Yes, that's beautiful.
That is wealth building right there.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah. Always tell my kids that difference between being rich and poor. I don't want to be rich, do you? Because I want to be wealthy. You can be rich all day. You know what I mean? But last, you can flip it. You know, keep it real. But wealthy, you don't have to worry about anything. It's generational. You know, wealthy is generational. So that's a beautiful thing right there.
Right.
So how was navigating a business like through COVID with your employees and everything? Like how did it go with them? Or, you know, how was it? Did you have to lay people off and bring them back? How receptive was it? You know, how was it like managing the business through COVID?
yeah, so you know, obviously with it being an ice cream business, most of our employees are like high schoolers and possibly college students. So it was tougher with the second location just because we had just recently trained all of them, and we thought we were set for a grand opening, and then it was like, oh, guys, we're not going to open, and I don't know when we are. So you know, hopefully, I hope you stick around. But you know, obviously, some of them stuck around, some of them left. So you know, I end up paying a lot of people just to come and train, and they got their check and they dipped out. But yeah, with the first location, the one that had already been open, we just, you know, they saw what it was, and most of them stuck around. So.
Okay, that's good. Did the state of Ohio have something in place to help y'all out, like through that, as far as business ownership? Was it there, or did they kind of like have you on your own for a while? Like, was there any backing there for you being a business owner?
Not during the thick of it. They ended up doing. There was a few organizations that did things like later in like 2021 or 2022 even, but during the thick of it in 2020, not really. I know they did allow for bars and restaurants, restaurants that serve liquor, they now allow them to be able to sell liquor to go, essentially, like in a cup. I guess they thought that was going to like boost revenue by some crazy amount, but yeah, we didn't sell liquor, so it didn't really affect us at all. So we were on our own.
Okay.
Wow. So, have you ever thought about actually teaching kids how to trade stock?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because that's where it starts. So my course is where I would start with that. I think that's a great way for kids to start learning it, and then be able to what we call paper trade. With most brokerages will allow you to use fake money. That's why they call it paper trading, so that you can get the gist of how it works and see how you would make money and lose money. But my course, Trade to Freedom, is definitely kid friendly.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. All you guys here, kid friendly, so you can have the kids come and watch the videos with you, and they'll understand exactly what Rashad is saying.
Now, speaking of paper trading, now like actual paper trading, like currency trading, have you ever tried anything like that, or forex, or anything out of it? It's just been like straight up stock market stuff.
Yeah, I don't mess with the forex. I don't mess with cryptocurrency. I don't mess with
So,
none of that stuff. Options and investing. Those are my two things.
yeah. Okay.
That is good. So, how did you figure out how to take the emotional side out of trading stock?
You really it's just a thing you have to work on within yourself. You really have to write down, have a strategy, write it down, and stick to it, and just it's if this then that. It's when we get our emotions intertwined with it that we really start losing money.
Yes.
I see it so much, especially now that I have a community. I have people that come in that they were doing something very different, and they're down and out. It's just sad to see, but you really have to have a strategy. That's what I teach is my exact strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to stick to it. And things may look ugly for a minute, but you need to stick to it. We have exit procedures. If this happens, okay, take an exit. But if this doesn't show that it's that bad yet, sit back and chill, man. Go get a glass of water. Relax.
That's when that discipline really comes into play, like we were talking about earlier. That discipline in the stock market, that'll make or break you quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a script, stick to your script. Don't try to be sweet. Me and my friends used to have a saying, being sweet to get you every time. So don't try to get sweet enough your comfort zone. Just stick to the fundamentals. Stick to your effective plan, and you will make it inch by inch. Everybody, that stock market thing, you get a big hit that'll get you addictive. Then you think that you can just keep hitting big instead of inching your way. It's cool that you had that big one, but that big one isn't awesome. It isn't consistent. Consistency
Exactly.
is win.
Yeah,
you get make it. And that's in life, period. Consistency is with your small wins.
Oh my gosh.
You're not going to get big wins all the time. It's just that's not realistic.
Right.
Yeah,
people of the entertainment world.
People tend to get too greedy, and it's crazy because my strategy that I have now, I actually started implementing and making after I was undisciplined and after I took a huge L because I got too greedy after winning a whole bunch. I had a week where I made this was back in early 2001. I had a week where I made $15,000, and at that time, that was a whole bunch to me. Within a span of within 5 days.
That is amazing.
And so, and this came at the end of, I want to say I had 4 straight months of being profitable every single week. And so, you know, then I had this week where I made 15,000. I'm like, I'm untouchable. You know what? I was like, you know what? Next week I'm going for 25,000. That's what I'm trying to do. The very next week, I made that 15,000. The very next week, I had my biggest loss ever, and I lost $28,000 in a single day.
Oh wow!
And it was that loss. It was that loss. What you say?
So that's a car.
Man,
that's a house. That's a lot of things. Right? That's a lot of things.
It was that loss. It was that loss. It was that failure that forced me to create a strategy and trade like a robot and stick to this specific strategy. So it was during the time. It always when you fail, I'm keep preaching that failure is a good thing, but when you fail at the moment, it's going to feel like crap. Like it's going to hurt. No matter what it is. Whenever you fail, it's going to hurt. It's supposed to hurt initially. And that's what it did. It hurt. It definitely hurt initially. You know?
Right.
But it was from that I created the strategy that I use now to bring in several six figures a year. So it's like, well, if I'd have never lost that $28,000, I don't think I'd be making what I make today. So it ends up being a great thing.
Yes, my goodness. I fully understand that one, boy.
And that whole taking a loss thing and it being a thing is kind of lost in the culture of everybody gets a trophy. So nobody knows how to lose anymore and be gracious with it and humble with it and take it. I mean, like everybody can't get a trophy. But, you know, when you do that, these are some of the values that you lose when you go that route. You know what I mean? You don't know what the value is in losing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need that trophy. You need that loss to look at what you've done so you know what you need to do to get that win. And, you know, they want everybody to be a winner, which I understand, but it's not reality, you know?
And what you just explained, that those participation trophies, that's what people were getting in 2020 when everybody was jumping in the stock market thinking that they could they could easily make money just because the stock market went straight up for the rest of 2020. It's like, hey, baby, you're not that good. And we all saw that. We saw that in 2022 when the stock market was going straight down for the whole year. And all those same people were losing so much money. It's like, oh, you're not posting on Facebook no more, huh?
Right.
No more screenshots.
Yeah, you know. You went back to that 9 to 5, huh? Man.
But that commercial say life comes at you fast.
Oh my God.
Better be ready.
So I remember we were making money, but we still couldn't figure out why we were making so much money, because Davey was just like, hey baby, I just made this much money. I'm just like, I know how he did it, but I don't know why the market's moving so crazy. Like, is it always like this? Like, where have I been? I've been underneath a rock. But it seemed as if, what was it? Maybe in 2022, 2021, after COVID, you guys, that's when I made the most money. It was actually after.
Right. Everything started settling down and not so much crazy rise.
Oh my gosh! During COVID though, you was turning $5 to 5,000.
Yeah, that was crazy time. I ain't gonna lie, that was a crazy time.
No, easy.
Yeah, we made 3,700 in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes of the market, and got out like combined. And then got out of there like, what the hell? And looked at each other like, God damn. Because it happens so fast, it's just like, it's there, get it, go. You know, when you see it, take it. That's the, you know.
Oh my God.
So yeah, times like that. But like we said, that's the anomaly. That's not the one-off. People got into that thing. Oh, we're gonna do this all the time. The stock market got a trick for you. Like, oh, they got a trick for you. You better know.
Yeah. Anybody who got in between April of 2020 to November of 2021, you know, it was a great time for you, but it doesn't always work out like that.
It's one of those, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and ain't no one talking about it no more.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I remember even just trading Tesla. I remember Tesla one morning. I made this was my largest trade, was $20,500. I have no idea.
Wow.
Well, I was buying irresponsibly, so you guys don't do it.
Oh man.
I was just, I was trading. So as soon as the market closes, I usually make a trade at like 258, and I bought like 4 or 5 contracts of calls, 4 or 5 contracts of puts. And, I'll be letting the stock market figure it out of which way they want to give me money. Just for some reason move, like they open up
up $100 overnight.
like just huge. And I was just like, and my mom was like, this is the first time she was like, well, wait a minute now. That was her first introduction to the market, was when I showed her, like, mommy, I just made this much money. And I sold out so quickly and just in awe. But still within that same breath, like the largest amount of money we lost was a good 25, almost $26,000. So, well, that wasn't in one day though, Rashad. That was in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that was over.
Right. And we tried to jump back in. It was like but it was like
it was a learning process.
It was a learning process.
And from that point on, that's what to do, what not to do, and move graciously. And then sometimes you are right, but it doesn't matter that you're right, because the stock market wants to do what it wants to do. So all your numbers don't matter. You got to know in that moment of what to do. Those are learning lessons right there. Really learning a lesson, like, all the numbers add up, but the stock market said I'm doing this. So it's like, oh well, you get frozen. And it's like, okay, you got to overcome those moments. But like we said, if you don't lose, then you don't know how to win. Because if you took that moment and try to make yourself a winner out of that, where there's no way you're a winner, you don't get the lesson in that to know how to come back and be like, okay, now I know how to do this. I'm gonna do it right this time, strategically, or take my time. You go through your little processes and don't rush into anything. But like you said, it takes those losses. You got to have them. You got to have them. They're so valuable.
It's important to know how to win. I think a lot of people don't know how to win. You know what I mean? They have those moments of, I could have got more, or I could have done. Like, no, you won. You live to see another day.
Right. That's it. That's it. That is it. That's the name of the game. Everything.
Yeah. But learn how to be consistent. What you were just saying is so important. So, like, when making your decisions, what type of news do you watch? Do you watch any news, or you just go off of, I read the chart, technical analysis, and that's it?
So as far as my trading style, news doesn't really factor into it. Now I will watch when Mr. Jerome Powell wants to speak, because he always moves the market no matter what he says. Right. But outside of that, no news really affects my style of trade. So.
Oh no, that's good. That is good. Would you was there any broker that you would say that you like to trade on the most? Any website?
Yeah, I personally use TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim. Their platform is really great. I also use Fidelity as well. So within my course, I actually teach on both of those. But yeah, both of those platforms are really great. I think I have, how many different brokerages I have? So I have TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, I have Vanguard. I think I have a fourth one I can't even think of right now. I think I have like 15 different accounts. But yeah, TD Ameritrade is definitely my favorite. Now it's a bit more complex platform. So if you're just starting out, maybe go to Fidelity. It's a bit more simpler. But if you do have some experience, TD Ameritrade is definitely
Okay. No, that's great. That's some good pointers. So what would you tell like your past, like your younger self? So like, let's say you're in college, you're selling phones, you got practice. You're like, man, I don't know how I'm going to, I don't know what life looks like for me. Like, what would you tell your younger self to encourage him to keep on going?
Oh, I would have told him to get into the stock market a long time ago. If anybody who's ever used a compound interest calculator would know exactly what I mean when I say get into it a long time ago. If you have not used a compound interest calculator, I would suggest you just type in Google or type in compound interest calculator, and it'll ask you, how often you want to invest. And then what will your rate of return be, which the stock market averages around 10%. But what you'll see is that the curve goes like this. And the longer you're in it, the more money that you make. I think I did a calculation. Had I started when I was 18 years old, and the calculation, if I was making the returns that I make now, but I started when I was 18 years old, that I would currently have around $60 million in cash.
Whoa.
And I'm 34 for anybody who's interested. Yeah. So it's, and it's something that I've already started for my children. Based on the calculator, I think they're set to have about 17 million when they graduate high school. So it's definitely get started investing as soon as possible.
Yes.
No, that is very good.
So, what app do you use for children's stuff?
Oh, I still just use TD Ameritrade. Are you talking about what brokerage? Yeah, I just use TD. Yeah, I just create them a separate account.
Okay. That's cool. So I know they're extremely. I'm sure they kind of know, right?
Know about what?
Huh?
Oh yeah. So we have 6 kids ranging from all the way from 3 years old to 17. So the 4 oldest ones, which are 14, 16, and 17, they all know about their accounts and stuff. Obviously, the 3 and the 5-year-old, they don't really care too much about money yet.
Right. So. Exactly.
No, they're teaching the kids the finances. That's the valuable thing. Because like you said, I would have had it, those are some of the things that we didn't get taught. So knowing that and having that little edge up is a plus for all the kids, for anybody, but really at a younger age. So you growing into it, it's good if you already grown and you can go into it. But that youth is such a beautiful thing because that's changing the generation right there. That's changing the ideology. Because now you ain't gotta run around. How do I do this, that, and the third? Run around in the streets when you can run around the streets like you run around right here legally on the market if you just know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And take your time out. There's another avenue, and it's real easy and simple. And it's kind of like doing the same thing that you're doing anyway. You know what I mean?
Right. So, it's all hustling, man. Just instead of something that can get you killed or in jail, just do it the right way.
Exactly. Finances and civics, the things that they don't teach in school at all. And I don't care what school you go to, in college, you got to take it yourself. But finances and civics, they don't want you to know about civics. They don't want you to know about finances. Like, it's the craziest thing to me. And then now, to me, those are things that should be mandatory when you get to college. Not all those dumb classes that they try to make you take. You take a finance, you get finance away, but they don't make finances a mandatory thing in college.
Oh my God.
You got to be kidding. And you go through 4 years and graduate and don't know nothing about finances or how to pay them back. Like, what is that? Right, how to pay them back. They should be employing you on how to pay me back. I give you this money. This is how you pay me back. Let me show you. This is what I'm teaching you. Instead, it's kind of like you're on your own. Like, I gave you the money. You didn't know what to do with it. Oh, well, here I come. And no, if there's a bunch, you're going to pay me back. Right. And it's crazy. It's a setup. Like, but you need schooling at the same time nowadays.
They teach us so much stuff that we end up never using in real life. Like, why did I need to know y equals mx plus b? I still don't know what.
Right.
But you didn't want to teach me financial literacy though. That's what you didn't want to teach me. Okay.
Right. That is so weird. But I mean, I know why, but conversation for another day. Hold up, podcast right there. But yeah, it's just like, and those are the things those are the number one and two things you need when you walk out that door. You need to know about physics because every law that's being made is going to affect you one way or another, and you need to know about finances because money rules the world. And those are things that they don't teach you the most of, unless you go after it yourself and say, I want this to be my major or whatever, or just happen to take a class.
Or want them to know more about the stock market.
Right. Well, that goes into the finances though. That's
exactly. But sometimes people think finances, they think, how should I budget?
Right.
They think more like, what should I do with money? How much should I spend? How much should I save? When it comes to the Black community, it's never investments, saving, and then how much you should be spending. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's always just how much should I save? How much should I spend? And literally that's it. And I think that's one thing that 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 keeps the African American community down. Now, I will say in like 1921, when we had Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like people talk about the black dollar and how it does not stay inside of our community more than 6 hours. But when Tulsa, Oklahoma was around, the black dollar actually stayed inside the community up to 18 months to 2 years. And that was another reason why they blew up Tulsa, Oklahoma, because we were doing so well as a community. We were thriving, and they didn't want that. So, and instead of giving us some money back for blowing us up, they don't give us a park. Like, we can't cash that out. We need some checks. Oh my gosh.
Even if you think about like entrepreneur classes, they don't really like they have entrepreneur classes in college, but they don't publicize them to you. You know what I mean? Like if you want to be an entrepreneur and run your own business, they're not like really told to you like, hey, you want to go take this up, let's say that once you get into you want you to go to business class and learn how to work for somebody, not how to set up and work for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it gets crazy with that too.
You'll think your master's of business management will be more about entrepreneurship and how to run your own business.
Right.
But it's not. It's to how to help you run somebody else's business.
Right. How to run it in a team. Like everything's a group project. It's how we gonna run in a team. This group project, that group project.
Well, I mean, it's good to work for one another. It is. But just not for somebody else.
Right.
It should be a group project on how to run and create your own business, definitely.
Unless that business has the incentives there for you. You know, some of these businesses that will get you with the 401ks and stuff that they're matching you. Some of the businesses will be worth keeping your 9 to 5. Some of them, not all of them, but you got to find that special unicorn business to fit whatever it is that you're doing.
So how do you feel when it comes to not having the stock market just replaces all that when it comes to 401ks. I was going to ask you, Rashad, how do you feel about not having the 9 to 5 and paying us Social Security, it don't pay us back nothing much. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have your retirement set up as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I mean, there's different tools for people who are 100% entrepreneurs. There is something called a SEP IRA or a solo 401k, which is just for people who are self-employed. But essentially, it works the same as a 401k in that you can put money into it, and then your employer, which is your own business, can match funds. And those matched funds are an expense for your business. So if you do have a profitable business, it works out pretty well. You get a nice little tax incentive to do so.
Right.
So there's that. And then I also have Roth IRAs as well. But with investing with the retirement accounts, I pretty much just buy into a total market ETF. I do it every single week, like clockwork. Every single Friday, I put in a specific amount, and then over time, that money you can't touch. If it's in a tax advantaged account like a Roth IRA or a solo 401k, you can't touch it until you're 59 and a half. And that money over these next decades will continuously grow. So that's what you guys will be able to see if you use a compound interest calculator. This is exactly how that money will grow. But I just put it into a total market ETF. I don't care whether the stock market is up, whether it's down. Every Friday, I deposit the money into it, buy a certain amount of shares, and over the years, it's going to make me very wealthy.
Right. So, what books would you recommend to someone who wants to get their life together financially?
My favorite book of all time is called The Psychology of Money. The Psychology of Money. It just talks about the way that people should think about money, because money, being wealthy is not a factor of you being smart at all. Being good with money is more based off of behavior than it is intelligence. Okay. If you are able to behave, which is basically discipline, if you are able to behave in a way, you can be wealthy, even if you're an idiot. But the smartest of people can be broke just like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why you can see people like see things like when people win the lottery, they don't have the right behavior, and that's why they're broke 5 years later, although they just got $20 million. Like, why your generation should be set for several generations. Why are you broke within 5 years? That doesn't make sense, but it's because they haven't developed that behavior. So that's what the book, The Psychology of Money, it talks about. It's an amazing book. The book starts off talking about, I can't remember his name, but it was about 50 years ago. It was a guy who was a janitor for his entire life. And he'd been investing. He didn't tell anybody, but he'd been investing his money that he made from his janitor career on a consistent basis, month by month, every month. And when he died with $8 million in his account.
Wow.
As a janitor. He did nothing else but be a janitor his entire life.
Wow.
But he had his behavior set. He was disciplined, and he invested his money every single month. And throughout his decades of living, his account turned into $8 million when he died.
Hey, that's beautiful right there. As the show winds up, because we're running on to our last, we got one last question for you.
Okay.
So, what would you see future Rashad? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what's the future for you, Rashad?
5 years, 10 years, I'm gonna be a heck of a lot wealthier. That's for sure. You know, the numbers tell me that. I don't, but
oh my! Well, what the 100 other people?
Right.
Well,
hopefully,
people, because 2 of your spots already taken.
Right here.
Right. One, two.
There we go. But yeah, 10 years from now, hopefully I'm well along that goal of getting to those 100 millionaires. Hopefully 10 years from now, hopefully I've made 20 or 30. That will be a blessing, super blessing to me, just to see that many that amount of people affected that quickly from the knowledge that I have to give. So that will be a great goal. Be it 30 millionaires in 10 years. I'm gonna keep it conservative. I'm gonna say 20. Let's work for 20 within the next 10 years. If I hit 30, then boom. But
right.
Yeah.
No, that'll be great. And then we can replay this recording back. Like, see, you was being too shy. You was being too modest.
Right. Look at here. Look at what we got.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem at all. Anytime. And we gonna come back around to you again and do another podcast within 5 years and see where you at, how you living, how your other millionaires living.
Hey, hold me too. I need you to be my accountability partner.
We got you.
All right.
Hey you guys, we really hope you enjoyed that last episode.
And if you're really ready to keep transforming, go ahead and jump into that next lab episode. The one right here. Down here, the link right here.
It's probably over here.
Or there, or here, link, click. Go ahead. You got it.